Hey, it's me, Rod Morgan, longtime listener and semi-professional host of the Morganino Podcast, a pop culture, music, and entertainment podcast on the Morganino Podcast Network. Listen to us wherever you get your podcasts. Podcasts?
Welcome to the Yeah We Know Podcast, part of the Morgan You Know's podcasting network. You're in the ring with Jimmy and Rod. Rod, what are you hot about today?
All right, Jimmy, I'm really actually kind of hot here, and I hope that there may be some executives out somewhere. I'm not even entirely sure where DirecTV's corporate headquarters are, but somebody at DirecTV Stream owes me an explanation. I've had a season pass to SmackDown set up for well over a year now. There's never been a problem with recording Friday Night SmackDown when it airs at 8 o'clock on the Fox network. I sometimes can't get around to starting SmackDown right at 8 o'clock on a Friday night because, you know, the wife, as great as she is about the whole wrestling thing, 8 o'clock on Fridays is sometimes difficult to be like, hey, honey, I'm going to turn this on right now. So sometimes I have to start it late. I go to fire up my SmackDown recording at about 9:30, and I realize that for some reason DirecTV has not recorded it for me, and all I caught were the last 30 minutes of SmackDown. Now, the ending, that was very good, and I can talk to you about that, but I missed the first 90 minutes, Jim, and it has me hot because I don't believe the last episode of SmackDown I just completely missed since I got back on this wrestling train.
So I think we have to take this a couple different levels. Number one, congratulations on this is the first SmackDown you've missed, and it's actually probably the best one that you've since you've started. And two, DirecTV has a lot going on right now, Rod. They are in big trouble. They are not going to get the Sunday ticket unless they can find like $6 billion somewhere, which I don't think they're going to find. I think you're going to see a lot of satellites come down. They might stay as a streaming service for a little bit, but DirecTV's in trouble, I think, bud.
Yeah, and at this point, what they are for me is they're kind of like a bundler of all my streaming services, right? That's essentially what this kind of is, but it just gives me access to a DVR, and so I can record certain things and fast forward through commercials, which is awfully nice, you know, but if it goes away, I'll figure it out. There's thousands of ways to watch television these days, but I do have a question for you. If I wanted to dial up the SmackDown from last night, is it only like highlights available on Hulu until like a week later it airs on Peacock, or does it not even end up on Peacock because it's SmackDown?
I think it's Hulu, and then I just go to YouTube. You'll find what you need. You'll find the big stuff on YouTube there.
All right, well, you can tell me what I need to catch up on.
We are in a new era, bud. We have started the Triple H era. Triple H is in charge of creative. He's also in charge of bringing people in, and you can see very well that he is signing his people. He is going with his people, and I like it. I like it a lot because we are seeing a lot of new wrestlers come in, and I can say the word wrestlers now. There's not a moratorium on that word anymore, so congratulations. We can actually say wrestlers during our podcast, Rod.
That's good. I believe that I used to say wrestlers as much as I had respect for the old man and his rules. I think I used to say wrestler every now and again, but I'm glad to know now that I will be okay in saying that and not given a black mark.
So we watched Raw and then we also watched SmackDown, most of it, you know, for both of us here. There is wrestling on the show now. There is so much more wrestling, and the wrestling is good wrestling for the most part. And I think right then and there, it brings the audience, the audience in the arena to life a lot more. It's a more exciting show, more entertaining show. The commercials that they did on Monday was key as well. They can't do that every Monday, going an hour without a commercial. But Rod, I think these shows were a lot easier to watch. How about you?
You know what? That's a great point that I hadn't even thought about, Jimmy, about how the fact that they do far less talking segments makes the actual arena where they're filming in more lively. And that of course, I hadn't even thought about that fact, is that was one of the things that made it. But you're absolutely right. The whole episode seemed to just move and jump and have that roller coaster feel. You know what I mean? Like when you had a dip down, then they took you right back up to the top. Then you had another little dip down and they took you back up to the top. And almost like you've been saying, Jimmy, they talk too much on Raw and SmackDown, and maybe Paul Levesque. That's my question for you moving forward. Should we start calling him by his real name to give him respect, or do you think he's going to always go by Triple H?
Oh, he's always Triple H. It's fine.
All right. So Triple H, yeah, but I like what he's doing right now because it certainly seems that he said more wrestling the better right now. And I kind of like the fact that I know AEW does actual rankings of guys. I don't know if I want to go that far, but I like what we're doing here where we're kind of setting up a hierarchy and guys are going after it and then getting title shots. I like that.
In one night, they took the United States Championship, which with Bobby Lashley, granted, is a pretty decent, pretty big deal. They even made it more important, and that is what they need to do with these secondary titles, especially if you only have one champion who's not there all the time. They did the video packages, and they had 2 really solid triple threat matches, then to lead to Tommaso Ciampa. Oh, Ciampa, buddy. Oh, Ciampa.
My guy.
Our boy is the number 1 contender for Lashley. And listen, he may not win. But it's going to be a hell of a match. I think it'll be a fantastic match.
Here's what I'm going to say. I already am for it because the idea of elevating Ciampa is great, right? Because what are the other thing that we're talking about here, Jim? It's a new era. What are the other thing that you said all the time? Too much talking and too many repeat matches. So if we can bring a couple of other guys up to boiling point, that gives us so many more opportunities for matches. So I was all for Ciampa winning that match. And the United States Championship needs to be elevated because if you're Raw right now in the USA Network, that's really the only title you have guaranteed to your program. So you better try to make it a big deal.
And this is built in right now. Ciampa and Lashley have a terrific match, right? Back and forth. Ciampa's almost winning. Miz causes him to lose somehow. And then that starts that feud, and Ciampa kills Miz, and he continues on. So I think that's where we're going with that. The Party Crashers. I'm going to copyright that 2022 for Rod Morgan. Party Crashers are here, and they've put the Raw Women's Division on notice. Io Sky, Bayley, and Dakota Kai. Your thoughts on the Party Crashers? Your name?
I do. I think the Party Crashers is a good name, right? Because I think that sort of their outfits, especially Bayley with the neon and the mesh and the way that she kind of rolls to the ring, right? That looks like somebody who's headed off to a party, and their whole vibe seems to be we want to rain on everybody's parade and become big deals ourselves. So the Party Crashers, I think, is a great name. The WWE is certainly not going to go with it. But what I do like is it seems to me that we're setting up kind of the beginnings of NWO situation here, right? Like these 3 are coming back saying we're against all of you, right? We don't have any one thing against any person. We have something against all of you. We think you're a better deal. We think all of you suck. And so we're seeing kind of like, I like it when the ranks pull together, right? Like you have Alexa Bliss, and who was it that came out with Alexa Bliss? Asuka, yeah. When Alexa Bliss and Asuka come out to help, right? That's them pulling ranks against the outside force who's just come in out of nowhere. I think that's kinetic energy, Jim. And kinetic energy, no matter how it ends up spinning out on the outside, is good for a television program.
And you've got to give them wins. That's the big thing. So Bianca and Io Sky had a good match. There were a couple, slower parts, I thought, in the match. I think Io hadn't wrestled in a while because she was legitimately hurt for a while. So she had to get, back up to speed. She did
impress me, though. You told me
but she was good.
She did.
Oh,
yeah,
she's fantastic. So I think the way they ended it is fine, but they do need to give Io Sky and Dakota Kai a couple wins here as a tag team, maybe. You can beat Alexa Bliss. That's fine. Yeah, you can even beat Asuka. I know, how dare I say that, but you can beat Asuka. She's kind of bulletproof there. Bayley needs some wins, and then you need to build the Bayley and Bianca Belair. That would be a heck of a match coming up.
Well, let me ask you this then, Jimmy,
October?
along those lines. Yeah. If we got the tag team women's championship tournament that's coming up, right? I mean, how much heat could we give the Party Crashers, as we're going to continue to call them until they get another name? If the other two, not named Bayley, what is it, Dakota and
Dakota Kai and Io Sky?
Yeah, if those two get some sort of Kai and Sky or some sort of name and they become tag team champions, how much weight does that give that faction right away if they've already got some gold around their waist?
I love that you took the Kai and Sky thing from me. That was fantastic. Just so you know, that is an homage to Kai and Tai. That was a tag team. Taka Michinoku.
I remember those guys.
Yeah, Kai and Tai back in the day. So that was just got a little homage there. So Kai and Sky.
Well, that's yours. So Party Crashers is my registered trademark, and Kai and Sky is yours. So we'll see which one takes off.
Yeah, we kind of skipped ahead a little bit, but they randomly said, "Oh yeah, by the way, those women's tag team championship belts. Yeah, we're having a tournament, and it's starting next week on SmackDown. So we're gonna see some new champions there, and I bet you they're gonna do a better job with it than they did last time."
Could we see some old champions coming back and maybe getting involved in the tournament as well, Jimmy? I mean, I don't want to be skipping around. You're the man who usually drives this thing, but it seems related to what we were just speaking about.
So we're righting a lot of wrongs here, it seems, okay? So Triple H brings back Io Sky, who they told could never be on the main roster for one reason or another. Dakota Kai comes back. Ciampa comes back. Karrion Kross comes back. We'll talk about that here in a minute. Is Bray Wyatt coming back? We'll talk about that here as well. Do we bring back Sasha and Naomi? Who was their beef with? Was it with Vince McMahon and Vince McMahon only? Was it with a couple other people? Do they just not want to wrestle anymore? So I think it is time to see if they right that wrong. It'd be a great matchup for the tournament there.
Let me ask you this. Is there any precedent for a belt being taken from someone and then they come back and then we say, hey, you never really actually got beat for this belt. It's yours again, right? Has anybody ever tried to use that as an angle? Like if they show back up, like couldn't their angle instantly be, nobody ever beat us, we should be champs?
A little bit. I mean, they've never given the belt to somebody. I mean, Triple H was given the belt a while ago. They have an interim AEW champion now in the other organization, but I don't think, it just seems wrong to have the belts taken away or given up, should I say, and then just give it right back to them. So maybe they have to, maybe Kai and Sky win, and then Bayley and Naomi come out and they say, hey, you're at the bottom of the ladder. You've got to, work your way up. Maybe they work their way up to a championship match. Who knows?
Or we just don't even put them back together as a tag team because that was, they had problems with wanting to work as a tag team before, I guess. So who knows? But I think you're right. There's a definite possibility that they could come back, and that would certainly be another injection of life into the women's tag team division if they so choose to pull that lever.
So I usually watch Raw or get a good amount of Raw on Monday. You, on the other hand, like to watch Raw on Tuesday, and you don't watch it live. You fast forward through some stuff and go through some stuff. When I was watching live, I texted you, you're going to love Raw, because your boy, Seth freaking Rollins and Montez Ford had themselves a match, didn't they?
They sure did. Seth was hot, man. I mean, he came out to the ring hot, right? He was
wanted Roman Reigns calling him out. Yep.
The crowd was still chanting his name, proving that he still got heat and he's still over with the crowd almost no matter what he does, because everybody loves the Ultimate Bro Riddle, and Rollins has completely worn him out, and people are still not mad at him, proving how much charisma he has. And I thought it was a great back and forth with Ford and Dawkins, really. I thought it was good. I thought the paper, rock, scissors, and then Ford kind of chumping Dawkins and running down to the ring was a nice little tip of the hat as well that could lead many different directions. And then they had an absolute banger of a match. You were absolutely right about that. Seth needed a big win, and Montez looking as good as he did made it seem like a big win for Seth, but it also really elevated Montez. So it's kind of, and you said this to me in a text message, but it's the perfect kind of wrestling match.
I loved it because storyline-wise, everything happened that should have happened. It made sense. We have a tag team wrestler wrestling in a singles match against one of the best singles wrestlers in the company. He does a good job. He gets close a couple times, but he can't quite get there. So Rollins needs a big win because he's lost a lot in a row. We have the Rollins win there. Now, of course, you're going to have him, probably start a little feud with these guys moving forward, but I think I see a lot of really big things for Rollins coming up soon.
Could we see a re-teaming with his sometimes confidant Kevin Owens maybe as well, and a little bit of a tag team match maybe here on Raw or SmackDown if we need a little bit of filler as well? Always fun to see Rollins and KO getting together.
Hey, you can't go wrong with that. I think last time there was a little fight between the two, but, bygones are bygones, and, hey, Triple H is back, so he loves Owens, he loves Rollins. Put them together again. Why not?
Because we don't have much going on for our guy KO right now, so I'm just reaching.
Yeah, I there's something else going on with that. I don't know what it is, but there's something going on with KO. We also had Edge do a really good promo. Now, I will say the tag team match at the very end with the Usos and the Mysterios, that kind of got a little tiring at the end. It's like, okay, this is the main event.
How much more does Rey Mysterio really have, Jim? Let's ask that question.
Oh, I think he could go. He can still go for a while.
I'm not so sure, man. I'm not so sure. Those Hurricane Ranas that he tries to pull off anymore, they just don't look very crisp anymore.
Okay.
And there's just something about the 619 where under no circumstances when I'm watching that match do I think the 619 is any kind of a move that should wear anybody out. And I just don't think he can quite get the height off the top ropes. I'm not attacking Rey Mysterio here.
Sure, you're just asking questions.
Correct.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of why Dominic's there to help him a little bit. But again, I don't see Dominic being that big of a force. You kind of want him to go bad just to have him do something different. But also you don't want him to go bad because it's kind of hokey there.
You can tell he's adding a little bit of weight, though. So I do kind of wonder.
He does. He's really a lanky, I would say. Yeah. Is that a good word for Dominic? He really doesn't have the
as a 6'3", 155-pound man myself, Jimmy. I can say lanky.
You can say lanky. Okay.
Word.
Edge gave a great promo. He always does. It's going to lead to Finn Balor and Rey Mysterio a one-on-one match this week on Raw. And then eventually I think you're going to see Edge, probably at the Clash at the Castle, Edge and Finn Balor go at it. That'd be pretty nice.
Yeah, certainly, because Finn, and I think they're going to definitely try to play up all the guys who have the accents and seem like they're from over in that place. So definitely Finn, you think is going to get a high spot there. But I wonder, are they going to mess around and do something stupid here with Edge accidentally, hammering Dominic with the spear, and Ray looking a little bit perturbed?
They did mention a lot of the, hey, it's Edge, it's Ray, they know each other. They could. Yeah, they could do that and kind of have them go against each other. But again, it's face and face because you can't turn Edge again for the third time.
So. I loved it. But speaking of his promo, I loved how he's like, thank you guys for chanting my name. And like, even though I was an asshole for a couple of months, and I like the tacit agreement of like, okay, maybe we probably shouldn't have done this with Edge, but it got us the Judgment Day. And so here we are.
Yeah, and he also said the word kill, which is interesting because you weren't supposed to say that either. So a lot of things are being opened up. But just a small thing. I'm going to kill what I created, which I thought was pretty cool. Yeah. So overall, I thought the show was great. It generally kind of slowed down, hour and a half, hour 45 in. But this time it really didn't slow down until the very end because you kind of knew what was going to happen. But it was still a fine match. The Usos, we just need to get different people fighting the Usos. It still seems like Ray and Dominic have fought the Usos a few times. It's been a little bit, but they fought them a few times.
Yeah, we definitely need to figure out a way to heat somebody up to the point of where it would make sense for them to beat the Usos. Because as you and I have mentioned a couple of times now, they're so at the level that Roman Reigns is, right? Not the same level, not as many days as champ, but like there's just not anybody we can see right now that makes sense beating them. So we got to try to heat somebody up before we take the titles off of those guys. But as I also say every week, and I'll just do it one more time here, the Usos are fabulous.
Yeah, they're great. They're great. Let's move on to SmackDown here. So rose-colored glasses going into SmackDown. Let's see what happens. We get a Ricochet Happy Corbin match to start things off. First of all, Pat McAfee goes on and 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 on about Happy Corbin and him not being good and kicking him in the balls. And Pat McAfee has a telestrator now, so he used that for this match. But I will say, Rod, this match could have taken place a week ago or 2 weeks ago. It would have been 4 minutes. Ricochet would have gotten 2 moves in, and Happy Corbin would have gotten the win. Okay? This week, I don't know how long it went. It seemed like it went 12, 14 minutes. It probably went like 8 or 9. Back and forth. Happy Corbin did his big man throws. He clotheslined Ricochet a couple times, but Ricochet always came back, and got the win on a beautiful move off the top rope. Ricochet beats Happy Corbin. That would not have happened. It really would not have. And you're going to go back and say, well, he beat him, 2 years ago. It would not have happened in the climate we were in. Ricochet, I think this is the beginning of them rebuilding Ricochet as well, because he's fantastic.
To what end?
I think as long as Reigns is your champion, you need to have some bigger guys against him, but Finn Balor did good against him. I don't think Ricochet and Reigns would work. So I think you're looking at an upper mid-card Intercontinental Champion right now. Maybe in a couple years you can see him going a little further. I want to develop a little bit more still.
Okay, so you want to see him maybe battling some other mid-card guys and then maybe getting himself another shot at Gunther.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I can buy that. Because listen, Ricochet is exciting in the ring, and fans seem to respond to him. So I'm all for it. And Happy Corbin, in my opinion, is a guy an awful lot like The Miz, who you can really just put out there. He'll work a good match, and you can use him to get guys over. So I think that was good use of him there. And I like Ricochet. I do. I think he's exciting enough. You want to give me Ricochet, I'm okay with that.
I really think Corbin, though, I'm always okay on Corbin. I'm lower than him on you. He did a fantastic job in this match. They worked well together. They really
and he
did.
worked well with McAfee. I just think he's on a heater right now.
Yeah, I've said the word fantastic a lot today. I understand that. It's one of my things. Take a drink. But it really has been a great week of wrestling, and I will call them out when they don't do things that I think are correct.
No, you won't. Nobody's ever heard you break bad on the WWE on this podcast.
But when I like what I see, I'm going to say I like what I see. I like the Nakamura build-up. Nakamura wins. He and Gunther are going to have a hard-hitting matchup on SmackDown. I cannot wait to see that one. That'll be good.
Yeah, Shinsuke's going to take a bunch of chops in that one, right? He's going to do a bunch of kicks that are going to land on Gunther, and I'm excited for that match as well because I like the energy that Gunther brings. I think the stark difference between the way he presents himself in the ring and the way almost everybody else presents themselves in the ring can just bring so many different storylines.
Shayna Baszler is your number one contender right now.
Ugh.
Now, I know you are not high on Baszler. Well, we have to. Now, I didn't get to see all of this. I had to go do something. I like the fact that they are kind of rebuilding Baszler from a nothing to someone who's an actual contender. They need more contenders on the women's side. I do like that. What is your main problem with having Baszler and Liv Morgan?
I don't know what it is that I'm supposed to be drawn to about Shayna Baszler, okay? I agree with you, and I see that she is a bit of an ass kicker at times. But
Yes.
other than that, what is supposed to attract me to Shayna Baszler? You say all the time that Ronda has some trouble with this and Ronda has some trouble with that. Well, guess what? So does Shayna Baszler. So shout out to our guy Mark Allen, who likes the idea of a storyline where Shayna and Ronda get into it with each other because they're actually friends in real life and training partners and all of the above. Fine. But my thing to that is you have two non-charismatic women going at each other. Who's going to care?
And that's true. I mean, it is. Shayna is definitely quiet, needs somebody to talk for her. Maybe they'll go back to managers. They've had a lot of different changes. Maybe we'll see that coming up. But I do think if they're going to...
The Queen of Spades thing is just that doesn't work anymore because then that's basically still what dictates her outfit and none of it makes any sense. And she just there's nothing about it to me that says this is someone that I need to pay attention to. And
So
I
you need
understand that I'm being a little
repackaged.
biased.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Liv Morgan, your girl, your namesake, third cousin, I believe it was.
Correct.
Are they going to do her dirty? Is she going to lose to Baszler, or is she going to win?
Man, I mean,
It's tough. It's tough.
I think there's a lot of worlds you could introduce me to where Liv loses to Shayna Baszler. But I think if you're pinning me down for my ultimate prediction here, I think my girl holds on for a little bit longer.
I agree. I think so. Rod, I watched more live SmackDown this week than I have in a very long time. I was excited. Okay. I missed most of the Gauntlet. I did. Saw most everything else except for the last 15 minutes of the show.
Oh, no.
No, did not see it live.
The group text was going crazy
Group text was going nuts. I didn't really know what was going on until I saw. So we have Roman Reigns and we have Drew McIntyre going back and forth. First of all, I'm very excited about that match. I think
I am too.
Hard hitting. I think they'll work well together. I don't know how you're going to beat Drew McIntyre in the Clash at the Castle. You need to beat Drew McIntyre at Clash at the Castle.
Do you need to beat Drew McIntyre at the Clash at the Castle? Come on, isn't this a scenario where Roman could drop the belt and you're not going to be angry?
Oh, I wouldn't be angry. I just don't know. Is Drew McIntyre the guy? Because if he's the guy who's going to beat Roman, he needs to have the belt through WrestleMania.
Why wouldn't he, though?
He could. He definitely could.
I guess I'm trying to open myself up to a world, Jim, where this is possible, right? I'm trying to think about all of the heat and all of the screen time and all of the storylines that we have built and shaped towards making Drew McIntyre essentially be where he is right now. Yeah. You and I talk all the time about how hard it is to get over as a babyface. Drew McIntyre's essential gimmick is I'm big and I have a sword, but somehow he's over, right? So I think we've got to take advantage of it.
And Drew McIntyre had one of the strangest world championship reigns in the history of wrestling because it was during a time when no one was in the arenas watching him wrestle. And he won his title at WrestleMania with 0 people in attendance. I mean, that had to be strange. They kind of owe him one, and what better way to get Drew McIntyre the thunderous ovation that he would so much like than Clash at the Castle. I think that'd be great. But we're burying the lead here. McIntyre.
No, wait, one more thing on this.
One
more thing on this before we go to Karrion Kross. I also think it's a good idea because if we're going to live in a world where the tribal chief, the head of the table, our guy, Roman Reigns, no disrespect to him here, but if we're going to live in a world where he's going to be more of a part-time player, why in the world would we not want to cook up Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes to try to bubble those guys up to being 2 of our top people so we can just, not have to rely on Roman as much since he's not going to be around as often?
So I think that the way Triple H is thinking is, what's the biggest match for WrestleMania? Money-wise and everything. It's probably The Rock and Roman Reigns, okay? If The Rock is not available, what's your number 2? Well, number 2 right now, storyline-wise, would be Cody Rhodes winning the Royal Rumble and going for the title that his father never got at Mania.
Right, but we don't know if he can be ready by Rumble.
The timeline is around that, so I think he would be. I mean, he did wrestle with one boob, I believe, is what somebody said.
That was a great line.
Yeah. So I think that that could happen. I would love to see McIntyre move on, and maybe McIntyre wins, and then he drops it a couple months.
He
later
won't win,
Reigns.
but I just was trying to explain to
It could be.
that I think he's got the most heat of anybody since you and I have gotten together to get back together talking about wrestling. The only guy that's got enough heat, in my opinion, other than Cody Rhodes, who got it in a bunch of weeks and then got hurt, but the only guy who's got enough heat to maybe make sense to finally take Roman down is Drew, in my opinion, and especially when you add in that it's going to be the first time they're across the pond in 30 years.
It's like the Undertaker streak at WrestleMania. You have one chance to end it. So you have one chance to end
That's a good point.
Roman Reigns' streak right now. Is this that chance?
Probably
Is it
not.
big enough? Probably not. It'd be cool. I don't see it happening. But
But
again,
it'll be, we'll
you
get
never
Drew
know.
back up there even bigger,
Yes.
right? Because it'll be a great match. You know what I mean? He'll have a couple of almost near falls, and like we'll walk away from that thinking to ourselves, absolutely, Drew McIntyre is one of the best guys in the company, and there's no questions about it.
Drew's talking, and all of a sudden, you hear a crow, and you see the Titantron have that bird on it, and you see a woman silhouette on the entryway. And I can't wait to hear what you say on this because I know what you're going to say, and you're going to ruin my moment. Damn it! You're going to ruin my moment. I'm going to be pissed. Then we have Karrion Kross out of nowhere attacking Drew McIntyre. Rod, let's get let just say it. I know you're going to say it, jerk.
Okay, here's the first thing. I was excited to see Karrion Kross back because you had always told me that Karrion Kross works when he has Scarlett along with him. Okay?
Correct.
So the package on the Titantron with the crow and her showing up kind of in the robes and being bent down, right, and not knowing what was happening, that was all. I was intrigued. I was in the moment. I was like, what's happening? And then I started putting two and two together. I was like, wait a minute. This is Karrion Kross. And then all of a sudden somebody shows up in a leather bomber jacket with like curly hair stepping out of the Backstreet Boys circa 1997. What are we doing with this outfit, Jimmy? Just put him back in the suit. I don't want him in the stupid Roman mask and like the thing that he was wearing crisscross across his chest. I'm not talking about that. But for this appearance,
that's gone. That's burned. Yeah.
For this appearance, he could have been wearing a suit.
The outfit wasn't the best. I understand that. I can see where it had to kind of blend in a little bit because wearing a suit would be weird coming out of the back.
That's true.
You know, but could have maybe not worn what you wore to the facility. Tom Cruise can get away with the bomber jacket. Your boy. I believe one of your picks somewhere. Well, he was going to be one of your picks in the Ethan.
Well,
Hunt
he's
was
Tom
one of your
Cruise
picks.
still was, but
Yeah,
not
still
Pete
Tom
Mitchell.
Cruise. Yes. So that was cool seeing Karrion Kross just beat the hell out of McIntyre. And then what I loved, and I love when they do this, they have a shot of Karrion Kross, then he looks over his shoulder at Roman Reigns. Scarlett Bordeaux brings what is that called? Hourglass. Brings the hourglass, flips it around, and then what I loved, Rod, is McAfee says, "What is that? What does that mean?" And Michael Cole, your boy, the best, the GOAT, says that means TikTok. Oh my God, that was great because then you have taken that bondage-laden Karrion Kross who lost to Jeff Hardy in 4 minutes in his debut. You have taken that and you have put that aside. And now you have a main eventer going against both Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns. I loved it. I thought it was done very well. Yes, the outfit could have been done better, but having those two together is great. McIntyre already tweeted that some guy that dressed in bondage beat me up. What the hell's going on? They're going to talk a little bit about that, but then they're going to move by, and they're going to have some really good back and forth. Now, the thing with Karrion is, and I've said this before, he's got to perform in the ring, and that's where he's got to step up.
That's my thing exactly, right? You talk about it all the time, and this was finally one of those glaring moments where I get to be like, oh my God, my podcast partner really is the smartest man about wrestling that I know, because you talk about all the time how the way you portray a guy means so much, right? It means so much. The minute that you let Karrion Kross come out and be in the same camera space as Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns, you're already saying something about him, okay? As much as I love my boy, Chad Gable, they're not letting Chad Gable come out and be in the ring with Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre at the end of SmackDown, right?
Correct.
As much as I love my guy, who's another one of my lower players that I love, as much as I love, let's say, you know what I'm getting at here.
What if there was like some guy who played the guitar that you really liked?
Right, exactly. Rick Boogs. You know what I mean?
What if he came out? Yeah.
They're not letting Rick Boogs. Now listen, the minute Rick Boogs' music hits again, he's getting one big pop at least, but then that's as far as it goes.
Exactly.
But that's what I mean. So the fact that they allowed Karrion Kross to come out that way and they're already saying this guy's back and he's a big deal, that's great because as we talk about an awful lot, we got guys on the shelf right now. We got Randy Orton still out. We got Cody Rhodes still out. Edge just came back. So if you bring me Karrion Kross and you can present him to me as a main eventer, I'm all in, Jimmy. I didn't like the outfit, but I'm all in.
The hair?
The hair's a problem. I think he should be bald.
Here's the thing. People associate the bald Karrion Kross right now with the bondage guy. So giving him hair does give him a different look. Now, he may come out and shave his head on Monday. Who the hell, or Friday. Who knows? But I can see why he kept it.
Military buzz cut.
I can see why he kept that there, and he is very engaging. If you look, he's got some interviews on YouTube that you can look through about why he shaved his head and why he let his hair grow out. You know, people are pissed at him that he actually had hair. Everyone just thought he was bald. It's like how you've got kind of like that old Seinfeld thing. You've got that head of hair and you shave it. I could be dating this hair. I could be watching this hair, Karrion. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm weird.
I think he could have a bit of a John Cena kind of do though, right? Like get kind of some of the curly locks out of there and have kind of like a military do. So then you're at least not
the
bald.
John Cena, the old John Cena, not the whatever the hell he has now.
Right. Okay, so at least you're not bald and you're not associated with the bondage bad Karrion Kross, but at least you don't look like AJ from the Backstreet Boys.
Got to ruin my moment. So another great show, good ending there. And we're going to see what happens. We've got another 2 shows as we always do this week. Can't wait to see that. A lot going on the Morgan You Know Podcasting Network. We just had our 100th episode of the Morgan You Know Rod. Congratulations. We did it.
We did it exactly because congratulations to you, my friend. This thing would not exist without all the hard work that you put in. So I must say thanks to you. But I also think that we are going to tacitly mention that pay attention the next time that me, Jimmy, and Chris can get on a podcast together or the next Morgan You Know that comes out because there is an issue coming out of the Save the World Draft, which is the podcast before this one in this very feed. There's an issue with that must be addressed, but that's not for this platform. That's for a different platform. But stay tuned because there is something that I've got to do a mea culpa, Jim, and you know I don't do that very often.
Well, we were so a lot happened, okay? Listen, I drafted a serial killer, right?
You did.
Your wife drafted Dolly Parton, okay? A lot of things happened during that draft, okay? A robot was picked after we specifically said no robots could be picked.
That's true.
But there was something that happened. We will chat about. I'm not going to give anything away here. But we missed it. It was under our noses. It was our fault because we believed Chris.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's the best way to put it. Listeners of this podcast have heard Chris a couple times. I think they like him. He's an affable dude.
Good family.
But,
yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, you can't believe everything that Chris says, and he snuck one by us, and that will be addressed in a future episode, as well as I believe we'll be getting our guy Josh Williams back on here soon, Jim. Speaking of drafts, one of my other ideas for the football season is all of us will be trying to put together our perfect NFL broadcasting booth because we have a bunch of names in different places. So I think that's something worth talking about. So you can look for that here forward. And then I believe the Mrs. Morgan, are cooking up something about movies around the corner. A couple of movies that we've seen in theaters this summer. We've been back to theaters in a big way. And so I think we might have an episode, just Kate and I, there soon. So that and wrestling. Plenty of things happening on the Morgan Podcast Network as always.
At Yeah We Know Pod at gmail.com. Also on Spotify, make sure you're looking for polls. We got a poll up today. What should our poll be today, Rod?
Our poll today should be, does Karrion Kross look like a Backstreet Boy or is the outfit fine? Yes or no?
And with that, you've been listening to the Yeah We Know Podcast, part of the Morgan You Know Podcasting Network. You're in the ring with Jimmy and Rod.
And yes, Michael Cole, you are the GOAT. I used to try to throw you your flowers as often as I could in the past, but now that Vince McMahon is not around screaming in your ear every second, your wings are opening up like a peacock to to borrow something from my guy Mark Wahlberg in the movie The Other Guys. You're like a peacock and you got to fly. Love it, Michael Cole.